What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we got a video from One Cloud 9 Villains who are hear him out low key right, you feel me? Without further ado, why is my shirt already bad? What the hell? Without further ado, let's get right into it.
By the way, when I say low-key right, that doesn't villains that were low-key right. By the way, when I say low-key right, that doesn't mean I agree with their opinions fully. And especially not the method of actions, because half of these, I'm not gonna lie, they was tweaking. But anyways, back on track. First up, Dr. Doofus, Smurf, and Phineas and Ferb. Alright, so if you don't know who the
I haven't seen Phineas and Ferb in a long time. I know it's been on a comeback. Might have to binge some of that one of these days. I ain't gonna lie. But I don't remember the plot as a kid, so.
Doc is, he's basically the main villain of. First up, Dr. Doofus, Smurf, and Phineas and Ferb. Alright, so if you don't know who the Doc is, he's basically the main villain of Phineas and Ferb. And I'm not finna explain Phineas and Ferb, everybody should know that show. But he was basically infamous for making a lot of inventions. And for some reason, every single one of his inventions ended with a thon. The Annihilator-a-thon, the Death-a-thon, the Unemployment-a-thon. I know a lot of y'all are suffering from that one right now. But
Hey, clap. First off, I'm not suffering for it no more. I'm good now. I got a job. But some people, that offends some people. It was chill down on the language.
Later-a-thon, the Death-a-thon, the Unemployment-a-thon. I know a lot of y'all are suffering from that one right now. But to sum it up, he's the main villain in this world, and everybody hates him. But in all reality, I don't think he's that bad of a guy. Matter of fact, I would even say that he's.
I didn't think he was a villain because as a kid, I didn't care about the plot. Does it look cool? Yay.
Good guy at the heart. And the main reason why I say that is because when you look at his backstory, gee golly, that shit was horrible. I mean, he was very lonely. He had no friends. Nobody wanted to be around him. He literally made a balloon his best friend. And also, his parents absolutely hated him. I mean, for God's sake, they didn't even show up to his birth. How the fuck that's possible, I don't know.
Possible.
But they did that shit. And then not to mention when he got home, his life was even worse. Because his mother didn't love him because he wasn't good at kickball. Of all things in the world not to be good at. Like what the his dad hated him so much that he made him his personal garden gnome. And he wouldn't allow him to move because it would mess up the aesthetic. Like that. What was wrong with these people? I think it would have been better if they gave him to a foster home than do what they're doing with him now. Not to mention, I mean, just look at this. He was extremely chopped. So you already know none of the hoes wanted him when he was growing up. Like, look at this nose. Why is it so big? Buddy could probably smell Mars from here, man. I know Buddy's worst fear is India. I'm not gonna lie, he would probably die. My fault, that was a bad joke. I could have been talking about India, love that. I think the thing that hurt him most about his childhood is that he always spent his birthdays alone. And honestly, for a kid, a birthday is like the most important moment in your life. But this right here leads me to why I think he isn't a bad person. Because since he had such a horrible experience on his birthday in his childhood, he made sure that no matter what, his daughter would never experience the same thing. And in one episode, he threw a massive ass birthday party just for her. And even though she hated it because he went way overboard. Like Buddy bought a whole bomb instead of fireworks. I'm not gonna lie, it's never that serious. This shows that he really does care about his daughter and also that he does have a heart. Which is why you can never get me to hate this guy, bro. I mean, imagine having a childhood like that. Who wouldn't end up as a villain? Like, let's keep it a beam. Like, his dad literally made him be a garden gnome. Like, if my dad did that to me, I would want to rob a few grandmas too. I'm not gonna lie. Plus, there's no way he could be such a bad guy if even his ops don't really hate him. I mean, even though Perry and Doc had their differences, they really honestly look like best friends sometimes, man. Like, I can imagine them on a FaceTime call laughing their ass off, just dissing each other, talking about, oh, I'm finna get your ass next time, being each other's favorite op on some shit. I don't know, man. In all honesty, everything he did is out of a trauma response. And a lot of what he did was also to help his daughter have a better life than he did. And even though that's a selfish reason, you can't tell me right now with a confident face, if you had his childhood, you would do any different. Because I sure can't. So that's why I can't say he was really a horrible villain. He's just broken, like we all are. And
yeah, I got nothing against this.
Were completely morally correct. I can't say his intentions were wrong. The execution part is just bad. Like, you don't need to blow up the whole tri-state area. And plus, a lot of the stuff in this cartoon was just extreme. Like, you remember that firework bomb I just mentioned? Yeah, he accidentally strapped himself up to that, and somehow he got shot off into the air and it exploded. And in the real world, he would have sure died from that. I mean, we would be singing R.I.P. in the funerals. But this is a cartoon and wildly unrealistic. So the next episode, he was right back to normal, like nothing ever never happened. Not a broken bone or a scratch on his body. I'm not gonna lie. We could have at least gave him a concussion or something. But if you think that's unrealistic, then oh boy, buckle up for the next villain we're finna talk about. Ken.
Oh my gosh. Bro, this was probably the most sane human being in that movie, bro.
Is misunderstood. Let me break it down though. So if you haven't watched this movie, basically the B movie is about a bee that graduated college but didn't want to work anymore. He wanted to be free. So he left his little beehive and met a human named Vanessa. And somehow he ended up in a grocery store and found out that humans sold honey, but they didn't give any of the bees commission for their product. So he then proceeds to sue humans for stealing their product. And then it turns into this whole big lawsuit. It's like the biggest news in the world. And who
I need to watch the B movie again, bro. Holy moly, I was too young to understand this. I haven't seen this in a long time.
This whole big lawsuit. It's like the biggest news in the world. Who cares? Nobody cares. Whatever. That's not what we're finna talk about. What we're here to talk about is this bee, Barry, and this girl, Vanessa, relationship.
What was that? What was the first one? Here comes the sun. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, we're going to get covered.
Because yeah, they're not just a comedic duo. They turn into actual lovers. And see, the way that this started is that Barry asked Vanessa to help him sue the humans, which she agreed to because I guess she was just bored. But see, here's the problem. Vanessa has a husband. And see, the relationship that Barry and Vanessa started to grow and nurture wasn't just a platonic relationship. Because I'm not gonna lie, this Barry was raising this girl up crazy. Like, they spending every single day together. They over here chilling, talking. He even gets this woman to start cooking for this. You're a bee. What do you don't need a full course meal. The crazy part about it is that he's doing all of this knowing that she has a husband, who in fact, to add fuel to the fire, is allergic to bees. And the fucked up part about this whole situation is that Barry and Vanessa don't even try to hide it. It's very obvious that they have feelings for each other. I still don't understand, because one is a human being and one is a bee. Like, how would that even genetically work? I mean, that it would probably be like this. It's like,
wow,
it's just not gonna fit. Like,
this
no,
kid's
the worst part
watching.
about this movie, in my opinion, is that when Ken starts to peep what is going on, Vanessa then tries to gaslight him into thinking that he's just being insecure. Like, brother, how am I being insecure? A bee is literally taking my girl right from me. And you know what the worst part about this is? Is that Barry the bee that Ken is allergic to was rubbing this whole thing all over his face. Pause. No, pause. This was coming on his face. He was spreading pollen all around the house. You got Ken coming in the crib automatically sneezing because he's breaking out. Then you got this bee eating at your table, taking your seat, drinking with your girl, flirting with your girl. Like, bro, now I'm gonna be honest, bro. If I was Ken,
Hey, justified crash out.
Is that Ken actually stood on business too? Like, me and him are twins for real. He actually tried to pack him up multiple times, mind you. But every single time he tried to, something or someone would stop him. And we can all probably guess who the someone was. Like, geez Louise, yo, Ken, please just break up with this girl. He's disrespecting your manhood. Please, what does she have on you? Do you like getting bad? She not only let another man, another insect, I don't know, another bee come into your crib, put his meat on your table, and risk your girl pollinating and spreading all of his mushy goodness all around the house for you to sneeze at, and she did nothing about it. Matter of fact, she encouraged it. Matter of fact, she let him take her.
Yeah.
Come on, man. The worst part about this movie is that at the end, Barry ends up being with Vanessa. Like, again, I don't know how that would work. I don't know if his, like, stinger would just go into her. But they end up together, and they also end up gaslighting Ken so much to the point where he goes back crazy, which honestly I can't blame him. I mean, every single man would do the same thing if his girl got taken by a bee. But in my opinion, there is no way Ken is the villain in this story, and I hate that this movie tried to gaslight us into thinking that shit, because we were kids. We didn't know any better. We thought bees had like us, man. I don't know. We thought it was possible. If any,
Try teaching us to be cooks. No.
Barry was actually the villain in my opinion, and Vanessa was for sure his Harley Quinn, ruining a grown working class man's life for absolutely nothing. But this isn't even the craziest situation we're finna talk about. And a matter of fact, we're finna talk about the craziest one next, because honestly, I feel like it's the one y'all have all been waiting for. See, Thanos grew up on
Thanos. Definitely justified. Justified. Nah. You get it. You get it. You get it.
Titan. And a major issue on his planet was overpopulation. See, Thanos suggested that they just killed off half of the population so that at least the other half of the population could live and survive because the planet was about to be in. But the government of this world deemed that way too inhumane, which I do agree. I mean, how would you even go about that? Like, would it be a lottery? Would it be nationally televised? Like, imagine turning on the TV to find out if you were finna die. Like, the fate of your life was based on a lottery. But anyways, eventually the whole planet ended up being extinct. And this obviously made Thanos very, very sad, but there was one silver lining. He was right. See, if Titan did massacre half of their population, they would have survived. But they didn't, and that's why they died. And in all reality, if you're just crazy like Thanos, that's all the motivation you need to just go and kill people. And from that point on, he proceeded to commit mass genocide to the whole universe until he found out about the Infinity Stones. And then it basically just sped up the process, and we know the rest because the rest is history. Now, a lot of people think he was right in doing this because we as human beings are parasites to our world. I mean, all we do is just suck and slobber up all of the planet's resources. And then oftentimes we just completely milk it dry and then there's nothing else left. And at the same time, if we sucked up some of the resources, but not all of it at a cool little rate, it wouldn't be that bad, but we're just doing it way too fast. And it's just, we just got to stop that. We got to slow it down. And people think the best way of slowing it down is by just cutting half the population, which in theory does sound correct. And that's why a lot of people agree with Thanos. I'm not one of them. So y'all know this is supposed to be a video about villains that were low-key, right? But I want to tell y'all about one that I know is wrong. And it's not for the reason that you think. I think before he got to Infinity Stone, everything he did wasn't as bad as it seemed. Yeah, the raging war and mass genocide throughout the universe, that was bad. I'm not gonna lie, I can't justify that. But I will admit, even though it was unethical, he was correct about Titan. The only way they could solve that problem wasn't by nuking half the population. And their unwillingness to do that nuked the entire population. When a decision has to be made, it has to be made, or else everything will fail. So I do agree with that. But once he got them Infinity Stones, there is no justifiable reason that he should have did that, boo. Like, you're telling me you got this big gauntlet that will allow you to do anything you can imagine in this world, and the first thing you decide to do with it is just murk half the population? Like, there was way better solution to this. Like, for one, if this gauntlet can really do anything, why don't you just double all of the resources for everybody in the universe? That would immediately fix every single problem we have. And I've seen some debates about that solution theory, because that's not my theory, by the way. I'm not gonna lie, I completely stole that. But none of them really make sense. Like, the main one I'm seeing is that, yeah, Thanos could do that, but then once the population doubles, you'll just have to keep on redoing it. Like, bitch, okay, I mean, who cares? Let's keep on redoing it. Any solution is better than eliminating life for no reason. And if he really wanted to stop doing it so much, all he has to do is just double it one time and tell everybody that.
The only problem I have, it practically almost killed him. I don't got a soundboard. Just pretend like a little. It's playing around. So, yeah.
Near that line that I just said, you will be murked immediately. And you know I'll do it now. Like, you didn't have to go to those extreme lengths when there was just such a better solution. I feel like he just wanted to murk half the population just to prove a point. And I'm sorry, that's just not a good reason. But the last person I'm going to talk about does actually have a good reason for doing what he does. I just may or may not agree with the methods. And the character I'm talking about
I haven't seen this.
Bunny. So yeah, I just figured out his name is White Rabbit. My fault to the DMC fans. My editor being one of them. I'm not gonna lie, I already know he's cursing me out through the screen. But if you don't know what Devil May Cry is, it's a popular game series that's also recently turned into a Netflix show. And it's a pretty good watch, I'm not gonna lie. But unfortunately, to explain this character's motives, I would have to spoil you. So spoiler warning right now. Stay at your own risk. But please,
That's
do I need to watch
unfortunate.
that? So basically, the show is about this guy named Dante. Basically, he's half demon and half human. But let's talk about the main antagonist, the White Rabbit. See, Rabbit wants to destroy the Earth, but not in the way you think. Rabbit is ruthless. He would sacrifice his own henchmen for his own personal goals. And also, he used another man's child as blackmail. And then once he was done with him, he tried to kill him. So he had no intentions of ever returning his child back to this man. Overall, this guy was just ruthless and disgusting in the ways that he tried to achieve his goal of world destruction. But let me tell you why he was trying to destroy the world. Because when you hear his backstory, all of this kind of makes a little bit of sense. See, Bunny was an orphan growing up. He bounced around from multiple foster homes, some being abusive. One of the homes realms being so bad that one night he decided to just run away with nothing but his only prized possession, an Alice in the Wonderland book. Eventually, he stumbles across a portal to what seemed like another world, and since he had nothing else to live for in this world, he decided to enter it. But little did he know, he willingly just entered the gates of hell. He would soon surely regret this, because as soon as he entered hell, also known as Makai, every single breath he took was poisoning because the air was toxic to breathe in. Also, there was monsters running around eating other monsters and demons, and honestly, this whole world was just screwed up, horrible torture. It was the reason why it was called hell. It's the reason why it is hell. But eventually a chill demon stumbled across Rabbit and he led him to his village, where we come to find out that not every single demon is bad and that a lot of them just want to live normal, regular lives. And since he had nowhere else to go, the village took him in as one of their own, where he stayed for years and ended up being a part of their culture. And everything's good at first, until he remembered that he was in hell and everything is horrible. I mean, hell doesn't have blue skies and rainbows. I mean, all it has is death. So Rabbit decided to make a device that could open portals so he could transfer his people back to Earth, where they could actually properly live and breathe without actively dying. And once he crosses back into his regular world, he starts transferring more and more people. It's a rescue mission, and everything's going perfectly fine until Lady and her crew pulled up. See, here's where shit gets twisted. See, even though these demons were good people, in the eyes of humans, they're still demons. And when I say in the eyes of humans, I mean the United States government, which is why they created a task force to eliminate every single demon that they came across. And that task force was Lady and her crew, and they were on the clock that night, and they found demons coming out of a portal. So you could probably guess what happened next. Boy, it was a massacre. I mean, they left no man behind. Oh, every single demon baby was killed. Oh, it was bad. Well, every single person was killed except Rabbit, which is like the most ironic thing out of all of this. Like, you're the person helping these people and you just see them die around you after they took you into their world, even though you didn't look like them. But the world you're from can't do the same for these people when they're in way more dire need.
Yeah, and the human population's been trash on you your whole life. He doesn't know no better. He doesn't know no better. He doesn't realize that not all people are bad. Unfortunately, he was never taught that.
I can kind of see why he crashed the fuck out later in the series. Because after he seen that, he quickly went down his villain world domination arc. And his one sole life purpose after this moment was to combine the regular world and the demon world so that everybody experienced hell, but eventually it would balance out because the US government and all of the nations would kill all the monsters. I don't really know, but basically he was trying to sacrifice this generation in the hopes that the future generation would figure out how to coexist with these monsters and finally delete them out of the universe for good, so that everybody can live peacefully one day. Which, when you look at it, is very noble. But at the same time, I live on this earth and not on that earth, so fuck you. I don't want to see demons. Well, I'm glad he got packed up at the end of the series. R.I.P. Bozo. I'm not gonna lie. I can't sit here and act like I don't understand his reasoning. And if I was him, I would do any different. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't go to the lengths that he did. He literally sacrificed his own people just to achieve.
I mean, yeah, the way you said, the way that backstory sounded, and you're right saying R.I.P. Bozo. Yeah, he gotta do some insane things.
And also, he was willing to sacrifice billions of people to achieve a greater goal. Yes, this is messed up, but at the same time, you really can't say it was out of selfish gain because he was looking at the betterment of society in the long run. I mean, yeah, everybody would have got packed up, but eventually, people would have found a way to defeat these demons one way or another. And even if it didn't happen at the start, eventually, society would be balanced again. Because no matter what, it's not fair that these demons have to suffer through all of that pain and torture, the fear of getting eaten, the fear of breathing too much, basically living a horrible life for no reason other than them just being born in there. And it's completely not fair that us humans could just live a perfectly fine life without even caring about what these demons had going on, bro. That's crazy. But again, he was willing to sacrifice himself for his overall goal, so you can't say it's the most selfish thing ever, even though it was out of selfish hatred that he started this goal. And in my opinion, bro, low-key kind of right. I mean, of course, this is a cartoon, but
Coming. Oh. No, I know what I'm doing after this.
If this happened in real life, that is the correct decision. Yeah, we will ultimately have to pay the price for it, but at least our ancestors would be straight, and the demon ancestors would be straight too. We should at least guarantee a future generation's safety over ours. It's what y'all want me to say, but at the same time, R.I.P. Bozo. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to get eaten by a demon, and you don't want to get eaten by a demon. So I am glad that he ultimately
Yeah.
failed at the end of the season. I haven't watched the rest of the series, and I haven't played the game, so I don't know how the whole story ends out. I'm just kind of patiently waiting. But maybe I'll play the game one day, or I may just ask.
Do
It
it.
ends out. I'm just kind of patiently waiting. But maybe I'll watch the rest of the series, and I haven't played the game, so I don't know how the whole story ends out. I'm just kind of patiently.
Show 8 canon. Also separate.
But maybe I'll play the game one day.
Do
Or I
it.
might just ask Ashton. I'm not gonna do that, so don't spoil me. But besides that, that's pretty much it. Ashton, I'm not gonna do that, so don't spoil me.
What if I do it anyway?
But besides that, I may just ask Ashton. I'm not gonna do that, so don't spoil me. But besides that, that's pretty much it. That's all I really have to say. And also,
That's
if you want to
probably
see
his
more topics
channel.
like this live, Twitch is right here. Second channel for everything you miss on the streams. Follow my Discord to be a part of my community, Sky Crew. Follow my Instagram because I'll be aura farming. Besides that, I appreciate y'all for watching. You know I love y'all. God bless you. You sure love you. I love you.
Please don't harass me, sir. Alright. Well, that's the end of that video. I hope y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Without being said, let me not waste any more of your time. I will see y'all later. Peace.